Hello, everybody. This is DeGarmo Tech coming back at you with another installment of DeGarmo Tech Explains All. This week we have a video that's a little bit different from in the past. Typically, we're, reviewing, different programs and sites and new things that are emerging in the tech world. But this week we kind of changed pace a little bit, and we wanted to talk about a form of tech that is completely different than how it was in the 80s and 90s that has developed tremendously and kind of comparing and contrasting the two. So as an avid PC gamer myself, I decided that I would just kind of not necessarily I wanted to compare the systems themselves, but I also wanted to compare peripherals as well as how the games themselves are played. So as you can see here, I've made a small, web page just kind of going over a few of the things and a few of my thoughts. But as we can see here, this is kind of this is a really nice computer right here, but this is kind of the basis of what gaming computers are looking like nowadays. And then if we come down here, we can see what I guess we could call it good gaming setup would be back in the 90s. Um, So, I mean, to start off, the towers themselves, it's night and day. It's absolutely ridiculous. We can see here, this has a water cooled AIO, which basically cools the processor, and the radiator holds water here, and then it passes through the tubes just to make sure temperatures are actually good. This guy actually has two water coolers in it, and he has one going to his graphics card as well. Um, and just like all of like the lighting and stuff, and where you have like 8 core, like 12 thread processors now from AMD that you can buy, and it's just absolutely ridiculous where all of the parts themselves have come. And as you can see here, aesthetically too, there's a major difference between the two. I mean, you have an all white, very boxy setup right here, and then you come up here, and this just completely looks like it's from like 2080. If you were back like living in the 80s and 90s with this setup right here. But so as you can see aesthetically, there's a very large difference. When it comes to the keyboards and stuff, the whole wave now is mechanical keyboards with switches and stuff. And I touch in upon this in my little write up that I did here. But you have mechanical keyboards. You also have mice that you know glow and can be wireless or have like extremely lightweight wires. You can also change the dots per inch, which actually you can see I touched upon here, determines how much your cursor moves depending on how much you move the mouse. Monitors too. Monitors nowadays they're running at 4K resolution, 144 hertz refresh rate, so not 60 FPS. It would be, over 60 frames per second. So, if you're playing a game, typically you would only, and is even in the last like 10 years, you'd only be able to like see, your computer may be able to run at like 200 FPS, but since your monitor only has a refresh rate of 60 frames per second, that is the absolute max that you could see. So now you can technically see 144 frames per second, which is kind of, a big deal and just, like advantage and stuff in the whole gaming world and stuff like that. So, and they're basically like flat panels. It's the same thing with TVs now. You used to have huge like box TVs and stuff like that, and now it's just like a very slim like half an inch panel, which is absolutely ridiculous. And then the last thing that I thought was kind of the most interesting, besides the whole like aesthetic and like part aspect, was the fact that if you look in this picture here, this guy has a couple CDs, and even I remember in like the early 2000s playing games off of CDs on the computer, and that was how it was. And nowadays, even with gaming consoles too, you can still go and buy physical discs for games, but pretty much everything and what the majority of people do is download them off of the internet. And I mean, for consoles, it's kind of like I'd probably say like a 70-30 split. But when it comes to PC gaming, it is completely everything is on the internet. You download Steam, you install your games, you put them on a hard drive or an SSD or something like that. It is completely different. Most people, like if they're building a new computer nowadays, nobody even includes that optical drive. I mean, you can see here, there's no optical drive in here if we're putting any discs in or anything. But you can see here this is being run off of a CD, which I thought was the biggest difference between the two time periods. But yeah, I mean those are pretty much the main things that I could compare between the two. I hope you found this video interesting. If there's anything else you feel like I missed, feel free to leave a comment down below. And I appreciate you watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and tune in next week for the next episode.